day, that's when the land you're standing on became the US of A. United we will stand, but divided we fall. One nation under God says it all. Men are created equal, words written in by hand. They all stand to fight when a cry for freedom rings. Freedom isn't free, it comes with a cost. One nation under God says it all. One nation under God says it all. This whole world's changing, it's changing every day for the land of the free and the home of the brave. Stand up, everybody, stand proud and tall. One nation under God says it all.
Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. This mic sounds really loud. It is 9/28, Friday night. Man, the whole month is about gone. We got a couple more days. Anyways, tonight is what is pissing me off. And man, is there a bunch pissing me off. Let's see, where should I start? Should I start with a racist crap in Putnam County, or should I start with the Kavanaugh thing? I think we'll start with the Kavanaugh thing. What is it? Okay. Guess I have to bear with me for a second. I just got gashed on my arm from a piece of metal sticking out of a door I was just by earlier. All right. Now I can cry to Mama B. Okay. Now we're ready. Okay, this whole Kavanaugh thing. I don't know how many of you guys have been following it, but man, what a crock of bull this is. You know, first of all, let me say, Miss Blasey Ford, you know, Dr. Blasey Ford, I do believe that something happened to this lady. I mean, I do believe that somebody groped her and stuff. They had two guys that came forward and actually said that they had done it. But the Democrats, and I got to tell you, you guys know that I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm an independent. Doesn't matter to me which side you're on. The person that stands for we the people, that's the person I'm for. But this crap that's going on lately with the Senate and everything, it's a bunch of hogwash. You know, these guys have been referring it as a circus. I wouldn't degrade the people that are in the circus. So, I mean, they called it a sham and whatever. This is a bunch of crap is what it is. Okay? You know, the Democrats had, and for you people that are Democrats, you should be freaking ashamed. And also the Republicans. You know, you should stick more with the independent instead of picking a freaking party. Pick what the policies are. Pick who stands up for we the people. Period. You know, but this is a bunch of crap. I mean, first of all, you got Dianne Feinstein. Well, let's start with Miss Ford. Back in July, that she sent a letter. She was trying to get a hold of these people. You know, she didn't know how to go about it. Yet she knew how to send encrypted messages. And she's also a professor.
She holds 14 degrees, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has 14 degrees. She has more degrees than a freaking thermometer. Yet she doesn't know who to call and how to go about it. Okay, I'll give her that. You know, maybe she doesn't know who to call. You know, she should have been better off calling Ghostbusters, though, the Dianne Feinstein's office. That has no doubt about that whatsoever. Okay, so she sends it to one person that's one of her congressional members or parties. They, in turn, they hold on to it for a while. The whole time they hold on to this stuff. Now, Judge Kavanaugh, has 60 meetings. He had them with Dianne Feinstein. He had them with Coker. He had them with all of them. Okay, not once was this brought up during the congressional hearings or congressional thing where they raked his butt over the coals. Some 1,300 questions, you know, and for what? They should have taken and asked the man the question when they had him in private sessions. You know, she said, Dianne Feinstein, she wanted to keep it anonymous in this. Well, whose office leaked it? I don't know. Was it reporters that she gave it to? The fact is, she went and did a newspaper article. She had newspaper people involved. She didn't want to remain too anonymous. Now, I actually believe the woman that she said she wanted to just get it out there before, because this was all documented before she even got started in this mess. The Democrats are the ones who took it, and they held on to it. And they held on to it for a couple of months. They waited until after they had Kavanaugh in there and drilled him with some 1,300 questions, 31 hours of interrogation. And then they decide to release it, or leak it, not release it. So why not before that? Why not bring it up during the hearings? Anybody got an answer for that? Because I sure as hell don't. Except for this is the game they're playing. The Dems know that going into the elections this fall, in November, they don't have anything except for let's increase the taxes and or take away the crumbs, as Nancy Pelosi says. Let's take away the crumbs. Let's give higher tax rates. Let's turn it into a social government, socialized medicine, everything else. All the things that don't work. I don't know what their platform is. I'm still confused. But yet they want to take over the House and Senate. This whole thing is a freaking tactic in order to stall until after the elections. And then once the elections are over, then they're going to try to bring in their own person because they want to set the Supreme Court in an off-balance type of deal. Now, I don't know how many of you have been really following this whole thing. If you are, you shouldn't be too confused on it. And it doesn't, a blind man could see this crap. Anybody that's blind could actually see it without ever watching it. But what they're doing is just garbage. It's bullcrap. How are you going to take and do this to a man and drag his family through the coals and then sit there and call him evil? Now, Miss Blasey Ford, I understand that Dr. Ford, and I feel sorry for the woman because what they did to her and the Democrats did, not the Republicans, what the Democrats did to her is a load of crap. They took this woman and used her as a freaking pawn for their agenda. Plain and simple. Used her as a freaking pawn just so they could get an election. So, oh, woe is me. Oh, we're trying to do the right thing. We're going to give it to the FBI. First of all, the FBI has already said that since Brett Kavanaugh has been in office now for all these years, they've done 6 FBI background investigations on him. Now, the Democrats are wanting the FBI to take over and investigate this thing. That's not the FBI's thing. All the FBI does is collect the evidence that they have now. And it's the same thing. He said, she said, and what did they say? Okay? It's not going to change. These people have already been sworn under oath, under perjury of felony. If they go back and recant their statements, which they're not going to do, because at that point, then the FBI is going to get them. Now, you got a bunch of the Democrats saying, well, why isn't Kavanaugh asking for an FBI investigation? Well, first of all, if it were me, and they're saying, well, if he was innocent, then he would ask for an FBI investigation. Are you freaking kidding me? I wouldn't ask for an investigation with all the crap the FBI has been pulling between Strzok, Page, Comey, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, Rosenstein. Rosenstein's getting ready to get his butt handed to him. The only reason Trump hasn't done it now is because it wouldn't be politically correct. Jeff Sessions, you need to get off your ass and do your job. Fire Rosenstein and get him out of there. Release the documents without them being redacted. I would not have the FBI, if I was an innocent man, honestly believe there's been no proof in going on 2 years now that Trump has any collusion, committed any type of crime during the election. The only thing that's been proven is that the FBI tried to set him up with Strzok and Page, okay, and Rosenstein. He signed off on the frickin' FISA warrants. Would you want those people going after you or investigating you? Hell, I wouldn't. They're already trying to smear Trump. Rosenstein got busted with his pants down saying that he wanted to have President Trump impeached to invoke the 25th Amendment of impeachment. to wiretap him, to send somebody in there to spy on him. Now, when Trump was in office, he was a U.S. citizen. And they stuck an informant in there. You know, and you guys are saying, well, they put him in. He wasn't an informant. He wasn't a spy. Bull crap. An informant is somebody you place in there. Or spy is somebody you place in there. An informant is already somebody that's in a place and you get information from them. A spy is when you put that person in there. And they did that with that college professor. They placed him in there to get. Then they come up with a false dossier. Now, these Democrats that are sitting there saying all this garbage about Kavanaugh, you know, he laid on top of a woman or young girl at the time, and then he tried to grope her. Supposedly she had a swimsuit on underneath her clothes. She tried to scream. We'll get into that in a second. Okay, the second guy in charge of the DNC right now, why haven't they asked for an investigation on him? Why didn't the Democrats ask for investigations? And why aren't they calling for investigations right now? Hillary Clinton ran for president. Okay? Everybody knows that. It's no big secret. She ran for president. Did any of the Democrats call because, Bill Clinton would have been in office. He would have been the first lady man, I guess is what you would call him, since we've never had one before. Actually, he would be the first womanizing prick in office. You know, I like Bill. I mean, Bill plays a mean saxophone. He gets up there. He's a showboat kind of a president. But where are all the women that he assaulted? Where are the Democrats standing up for them? Those women were outside of the hearings the other day. And you know what? Dianne Feinstein, you didn't take your old wrinkly ass out there and say, look, I'm sorry, I didn't stand up for you. You could still stand up for her. If they're going back 36 years on Kavanaugh, then why don't they go back 36 years on Clinton? On Bill and Hillary. She's the one that basically let these women get away with them, called them dirt bags, called them all this and blah, 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 blah. You know, they did the same crap with Clarence Thomas. And it's not right. There's definitely an off balance here. I mean, there's two sides of justice here. There's the Democrats' justice and the Democrats' justice. You know, you got the Republicans who, as soon as they found out about this, offered. Now they offered to fly out to California because the woman, Ms. Ford, said she's terrified of flying. She can't fly. She's not going to come to Washington. She can't fly. Yet when the lady asked her in the hearing the other day, or they won't call it a hearing, they'll just call it during her, I don't know, what the hell would you even call that? The circus.
I have no
idea.
Call it
circus
the circus is the idea, I would say.
We'll call it the circus. When they had her in there for her review and stuff, the lady asked her, she said, well, don't you fly to Hawaii or go to Hawaii? Well, how did you get there? Did you get there by car or boat? Now, this Ford asked for three, or her attorneys asked for 3 extra days so she could drive from California to Washington. The Republicans said, you know what? We will come and we will fly there and we will do a private interview with you behind closed doors. Their attorney said no. So she gets out there. How did she get out there? She flew. She admitted it. Okay, now I'm not bashing her for that. I'm just showing what her story is. Now, they were talking about, well, California, this, California. She wasn't even in California. She had flown to Milwaukee. When the lady asked her, do you ever come to Washington? Oh, yeah, I come here all the time. I come to visit my parents and blah, 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 and relatives. At least once a year. How do you get here? I fly. Okay, how do you get to Tahiti? How do you get to all these places in the world? Hawaii, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I fly. Yet she's too terrified to fly to Washington. Okay, and then she says she has to go into hiding. What about Kavanaugh? And again, I honestly believe that something happened to this woman. But the simple fact that she can't even remember 2 months ago when she took a polygraph test if there was a freaking camera in there. Well, I don't know. There was a laptop, I think.
And she said she was in tears and she was overwhelmed. They were putting stuff. There was 2 questions. And it wasn't even involving Kavanaugh, the 2 questions.
Exactly.
So what in the world was so
what were the
terrible?
two questions?
She said she was concentrating on what she was going to say. She was so caught up in what she was going to say. It's on your
Yeah,
phone.
let's go to her.
Travis, it's on your phone.
Yeah, okay, I'll pull it up in a second.
Yeah.
What she said, my tablet was dead tonight, so I'm using my phone. She said that during the during her polygraph test, okay, that she was innocent. Okay, she had handwritten Dianne Feinstein a letter. Okay, supposedly they asked her about that letter. Now, Feinstein and them recommended her attorneys. If you guys watch the video, the one gal on the left there is the one running around with a sign out during all these protests. Trump is not my president. He's never going to be my president. They're the ones representing him.
And I'll tell you what, you people need to take it and shove it, because you know what? You didn't help a movement. You hurt a movement, because that had nothing to do with Trump. She had a sexual misconduct allegation. What you were doing was completely uncalled for. You made her life into politics, and you guys used her as a political platform. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Here's the two questions that were asked.
Yeah, she was a ping pong.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the thing, here's the two questions that they asked her from the interview, and this is from August 7th examination. It was held in Maryland Hilton Hotel, not at a police station. Now, when a crime is committed, a sexual crime, which there wasn't a sexual crime, he didn't. And now the Dems are saying that, well, she was raped. No, she wasn't raped. Okay, she was groped. She was pushed into a room, according to her, and then according to her, Brett Kavanaugh laid on top of her. Now, the guys that she said was there, they're saying they didn't say it didn't happen. They just said they don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Said it wasn't them.
They said it wasn't them. They went in there. Now, two guys have come forward saying they were the two guys. This is last week. But
And they've already talked to the Senate.
But do you think the Dems cared about it? Nope. Do you think the Republicans cared about it? Nope. None of them even went and talked to these guys, yet they have them on national TV. Now, of course, when anything happens, people start coming out of the woodworks. Here's a good example. I had a guy that worked for me years ago, and I dropped him off. This guy had a hump on his back. I don't know if it's scoliosis or what it was. Was a nice enough guy. His name was Tim. He worked for me, and I dropped him off at his apartment complex one day, and Sears had an extension cord going up the stairwells. And I just jokingly around, I said, that's dangerous as all get out. If somebody just laid at the bottom of the steps and said they tripped over that, pretty soon there would be 10 or 15 people standing around that would say, oh, yeah, I saw it. I saw the whole thing. I left there. When I got home, I had a call. This is before cell phones or anything. I had a call from the guy's girlfriend. And she said, Tim can't make it in tomorrow. Tim fell down the stairwells. He tripped on an extension cord that Sears had laying out there while they were working, putting up new banisters and stuff. This dirtbag Tim, he had laid on the ground and started yelling. One of the paramedics said, good God, look at his back. That hump, he must have broken his back. He didn't. He already had that hump there. He looked like he had a backpack on, like if you put a backpack on, like in, what was that movie, Deuce Bigelow? Mm-hmm. Where the girl has the big hump on her back and he puts the turtle backpack on her. That's what he looked like. Within 5 minutes, the police, I drove over there. Within 5 minutes, they had 4 or 5 people sign statements that they had seen him fall. Later on, he admitted that, to me, that he didn't fall. That was a good idea, man. I got $33,000 out of it. Quick cash. I'm like, you're a dirtbag. You're not working for me. Now, the same with this. You got Kavanaugh. Anytime you have an accident, there's always some turd out there that's going to say, well, I saw it. Some lying turd is going to say, well, I saw the whole thing, or this happened to me, because they want that 15 minutes of fame.
Well, it's not only that, but they think they're helping the cause. It's like the stupid Me Too movement. I'm so sick and tired of the women's empowerment movement trying to make a voice. Unless you've been a victim, you have no right to say how a victim feels in a situation.
Yeah, well, look at Melissa Milano. She was there. She was there in the hearings and stuff. Let me see. Which one was it? This one?
Yes.
Which one is that? This one?
To your right.
To my right.
Right there. Straight in front of you. Look up. Look up. There
Okay.
you go. Attaboy.
I'm not sure.
It's off to the right of your face.
Oh, okay.
Just look at yourself. To the
Aiden.
side.
Hey, Aiden. Aiden writing in and say, "Hey, Travis, how you doing, buddy?"
But
Aiden's a smart kid. He could figure this out. He's 14 years old. Aiden's one of my buddies.
But yeah, this committee had interviewed the two men who came forward about the disputed summer assault at the house party and told the committee they, not Kavanaugh, had the encounter with Dr. Ford in 1982. That is the basis of the complaint.
Well, yeah. Well, Kavanaugh his dad had talked him into. Well, let me get back to this, and then I'll jump back to that. I don't want to be jumping around too much. People confused like a kangaroo. Anyways, she had a handwritten statement. Now, in that handwritten statement, they did a polygraph on the two questions that they asked her, Mrs. Ford. Again, I honestly believe. Was it back up here? Okay, the two questions that she had, or the polygraph examined her, asked her. Now, there was no video taken of this, so according to everybody else, the handwritten thing that she had was sent to Dianne Feinstein. Okay, so she didn't even have this thing in a polygraph test. The only two questions that were written to her was, is any part of your statement false? And did you make up any part of your statement? That was the two questions right there. Is part of your statement false? And did you make up any part of your statement? She answered both with no. And Jeremiah Hanfin of Virginia, who was the one doing a polygraph test, noted that both answers were deemed not indicative of deception. Not that she was innocent or not that she lied. And again, I think something truly happened to Miss Ford, but I don't think it was Brett Kavanaugh, especially when you have two guys coming forward saying they did it. Again, this is a whole smear tactic by the left to stop the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. I think the guys, the guys have been in politics and stuff for the last 12 years in Washington. He served for President Bush. He underdid a polygraph. He underdid an FBI scrutiny there when he was a judge in Washington, when he was for the Supreme Court, all this stuff. And the guy who's supposed to be a womanizer has hired more female interns than any judge in history to promote women. You know, the guy's got some 200 women sitting there talking how good he is, and still nothing. And Miss Ford was not even part of where she said that Brett Kavanaugh was at that night. He never even hung out in those places. I know, I checked it all out, and I read all the transcripts and everything else. I think Miss Ford again, and I feel sorry for her, but when you can't remember something that happened 2 months ago, how are you going to remember the details of 36 years ago? Now, you were, I don't, if you don't want to talk about it, we won't talk about it, but Marie, you were molested at the age of what?
From 4 to 6. And I was
From
gang
4 to
raped
6.
at 16.
And at 16. Now, in that, yes, from what you told me, and we talked about it in the past, you remember everything. You remember the guy's eyes.
I remember everything. When you were raped, and I know I know she had something happen to her. I believe she was groped. I don't believe it was Kavanaugh. I really don't. I was 6 years old. I will tell you one from a 6-year-old. Okay, I'm now over 40 years old. At 6 years old, my uncle, he took me and we went into my grandparents' bathroom. I can remember his smell. I was so scared. I was shaking. I was crying because I knew something was wrong, but I was 6. I didn't know. My uncle was there. And he kept saying to put his dick in his mouth. Well, okay, I didn't know what to do. I'm a little girl. I do that. I always felt like something was wrong. That following afternoon, we were at a family gathering. And So we were at my grandparents'. I mean, nobody thought anything was wrong. So my grandparents used to have this walkway you could go out, and there was like, like a little stream. We'd go get fresh water. My uncle took me out there, and he told me if I ever told anybody, he was gonna kill me. Well, he pulled my clothes off. He groped me. He molested me. He did all of it. And I remember.
How old were you?
I was 6. I remember all the way back. I remember my first Care Bear swimming pool when I was 5. Okay. Well, I remember he was wearing a red shirt. He was wearing blue jeans. I remember the little dress I was wearing. He had little flowers on it. Well, we were sitting there at my parents' one day, and he had videotaped the whole thing. And we're sitting at my parents' one day, and these 2 cops come up to me, and I'm 6 years old, and they're like, we need to talk about what your uncle did to you, And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they said, no, we have video. We know what your uncle did to you. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't want to come forward. My uncle scared me. He told me he was going to hurt me and hurt my family. And they showed me the video, and I still remember the night we went to court. I was like a little girl. I was like looking up at like this 20-foot tall courtroom, this judge, and I'm outside of the room looking up because they didn't want me in the room. And the judge stood over top of my uncle, and he's like, my uncle had done it numerous times before, and he'd been let go. And they released him to my aunt or my grandparents, and of course I never got to see my grandparents again, but I still remember to this day the judge's black robe. I remember the doorway, looking in the doorway, seeing it. But you remember smells for the longest time, and even to this day, if somebody touches me the wrong way, or, guys, I couldn't get near guys for the longest time because I couldn't take the smell. But I live my life normal now because it's funny. When I fell in love with my husband, when I met my husband, it was like everything just kind of it just went away. It was like when I was in his arms, I was safe. And there's certain things people do to this day that smells. I watched that woman get touched in different ways on the thing, and I was like, no. I was like, there's things when you tell a story. When she made the comment, I think she just got scared. But when she made the comment during the thing, and she says, the thing that bothered me the most is they were kind of laughing during the whole thing, and the way she says it, she has no emotion, no tears. She's just shaky. When you're scared talking about something that you're not sure of, you're shaky. I know she was groped. I know something happened to her. I can't say what, and I can't say who. But she says, and they seem to be having a good time about it. The way she was saying it, if you guys go back and listen to it, the way she said that, it was like she was reading a book. Like she had written this as a book. And everything she says, when I'm telling you this story, I'm telling you. I'm not saying, you know what, I recall telling Travis this. I said, I told Travis this. But I can remember every detail, even down to now, smells will bother me. I can't be around certain smells because I remember them. They bring back memories.
Now, do you think something happened to her?
I do.
Okay.
But I believe it wasn't as bad as she made it out. I just think she was just super, super scared. And when you get in that position and you're really scared, because when I was gang raped at 16, I mean, I had 6 guys grab me, and I couldn't get away. And you do everything. You got this fight or flight. Everything in your brain's telling you what to do, trying to figure out how to get away. You're looking at clothes. You're fighting. You're looking at every out. I get the whole door thing, that second door thing. I get, but the way she described her story, and she could sit there and be like, "Well, I need a break. And she's like, and they're trying to be so nice to her, and she's like, "Oh, I got my coffee now. I'm okay." But there's something not right about her story. Whenever she retold a story, whenever I've heard anybody, if you ask anybody to repeat their story, and this woman's a professor, I get it, but when she talked about different parts of her life, they would ask her about, the letters on July 6th and July 13th and July 18th and July 20th. She would say it just like this. But whenever she talked about Kavanaugh, she made the comment, and Dr. Feinstein asked her, whoever her name is, she says, "How do you know it was Kavanaugh?" And she says, "Just as sure as I'm looking at you." I'm like, okay, wow. And then she adds a comment.
That's a scary thought.
Okay, well, then she adds a comment that I have never heard anybody tell a story as. What was it? The serotonin, melatonin, something in her brain? Every time she talked about Kavanaugh, she talked about her hypothalamus or something like that. Some medical term told her that. You don't tell a story about no hypothalamus or nothing like that. You tell a story from your heart because you lived it. You know it. You don't need to remember it.
Well, there are some women that don't remember it or do get the facts wrong.
Yeah,
Now,
but not talk about the hypothalamus and things that make you remember. You say, I remember this. You
right,
don't sit
but
there
the
and
fact
make
that
it.
she had turned us in when Kavanaugh's first confirmation, I have questions on that too. But when she saw that he was one of the first nominees before he was the only nominee, that when he was on the short list, she said that's when she brought this whole thing forward. Okay, so I honestly think something really happened to the woman.
I do too.
But,
But then she said,
here's a story that was in the New York Times.
well, she also stated that she said several times since 2012 that her assailant was a prominent lawyer or judge, but she never used his name. So if she knew all the way back then, what took so long?
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't go after
Why did she
him.
wait for nomination? If she was so worried about protecting people, why didn't she go back then?
When he was working for Bush and when he was involved with the whole Clinton thing that was going on with Bill Clinton and the whole impeachment process and all that stuff. But when certain women are sure about certain things and then it turns out later that they're wrong. I was reading a story in the New York Times, and it was by Jennifer Thompson, and it was called "I Was Certain, But I Was Wrong." In 1984, I was a 22-year-old college student with a grade GPA average of 4.0, and I really wanted to do something with my life. One night, someone broke into my apartment and put a knife to my throat and raped me. During my ordeal, some of my determinations took. Hang on, I got to scroll up a little bit. This thing went sideways on me. During the ordeal, it took an urgent new direction. I studied every single detail of the rapist's face. I looked at his hairline. I looked for scars, for tattoos, for anything that would help me identify him. When and if I survived the attack, I was going to make sure that he was put in prison. He was going to rot there. When I went to the police department later that day, I worked on a composite sketch to the very best of my ability. I looked through hundreds of nose and eyebrows and eyes and hairlines and nostrils and lips. Several days later, looking at a series of police photos, I identified my attacker. I knew this was the man. I was completely confident. I was sure. I picked the same man in the lineup. Again, I was sure. I knew it. I had picked the right guy, and he was going to jail. If there was any possibility of a death sentence, I wanted him to die. I wanted to flip the switch myself. When the case went to trial in 1986, I stood up on the stand and put my hands on the Bible, and I swore to tell the truth. Based on my testimony, Ronald Jr. Cotton was sentenced to prison for life. It was the happiest day of my life because I could begin to put all of it behind me. In 1987, the case was retried because an appellate court had overturned Ronald Cotton's conviction. During the pretrial hearing, I learned that another man had supposedly claimed to be my attacker and was bragging about it in the same prison wing where Ronald Cotton was being held. This man, Bobby Poole, was brought into court, and I was asked, "Miss Thompson, have you ever seen this man?" I answered, "I have never seen him in my life. I had no idea who he was." Screen minimized. I had no idea who he was. Ronald Cotton was sentenced again to 2 life sentences. Ronald Cotton was never going to see the light of day. He was never going to get out. He was never going to hurt another woman. He was never going to rape another woman. In 1995, 11 years after I had first identified Ronald Cotton, I was asked to provide a blood sample so that DNA test could be ran on evidence from the rape. I agreed because I knew that Ronald Cotton had raped me, and the DNA was going to confirm that. The test would allow me to move on once again and get away from it all. I will never forget that day. I will never forget the day that I learned about the DNA results. I was standing in my kitchen when the detectives and the district attorney visited. They were going to, hang on. That's one thing about this phone is it keeps swelling up on me and I can only read part of the sentence. They were good and decent people who were trying to do their jobs as I had done mine, as anyone would try to do the right thing. They told me, "Ronald Cotton did not rape you. It was Bobby Poole." The man I was sure I had never seen in my life was the man who was inches from my throat, who raped me, who hurt me, who took my spirits away, who robbed me of my soul. And the man I had identified was so empathetically on so many occasions was absolutely innocent. Ronald Cotton was released from prison after serving 11 years. Bobby Poole pleaded guilty to raping me. Ronald Cotton and I are the same age, so I knew what he had missed during those 11 years. My life has gone on. I've gotten married. I've graduated from college. I've worked, and I was a parent. Ronald Cotton had never gotten to do any of that. Mr. Cotton and I have now crossed the boundaries of both the terrible way we came together on our racial differences. He is a black man and I am a white woman, and have become friends. Although he has now moved on with his own life, I live with the constant anguish that my profound mistake cost him so dearly. I cannot begin to imagine what would have happened had my mistake had mistaken identification occurred in a capital case. Today, there's a man in Texas named Gary Graham who is about to be executed because one of the witnesses. Where did it go? There it is. I hate these ads when they pop up. Today there's a man in Texas named Gary Graham who is about to be executed because one witness is confident that Mr. Graham is the killer she saw from 30 to 40 feet away. This woman saw the murder for only a fraction of the time that I saw the man who raped me. Several other witnesses contradicted her, but the jury that convicted Mr. Graham never heard any of their conflicting testimonies. If anything good can come out of what Ronald Cotton suffered because of my limitations as a human being, let it be an awareness of the fact that eyewitnesses can do and do make mistakes. I've now had the occasion to study the subject, and it goes on and on and on and on. My point there is that this woman was so sure that Mr. Cotton had raped her, she picked him out of a lineup. She did a composite drawing. She picked this man out of a lineup, but it wasn't the right guy. But not for DNA. This guy would have spent 2 life sentences in prison.
About
Now,
2
not
to
to say-
10% of the rapes are actually, the girl is actually wrong. I mean, the victim's actually wrong.
Yeah, not to say that you don't remember who the person was, because that was your uncle. You knew him. But Miss Ford had never really, she didn't travel in the same circuits with Brett Kavanaugh. She didn't hang out with the people that he hung out with. The places that she said she was at, because she went to another school, and these other girls at Brett Kavanaugh, he went to a private boys' school, and they went to Catholic schools. They have their own little group. Now, I went to private school. I went to private Baptist school. And I know exactly what they're talking about. Because the private schools, the kids hang out with other kids in private schools. They're a little more privileged. Although I wasn't privileged, I still went to private school. And I understand what he's saying. And I also understand about evidence. Now, Brett Kavanaugh's dad had didn't make him, but he suggested that he take a calendar and write everything down on it like a journal. Now, I've done the same thing with my daughter and my son over the years. I've told my daughter, keep a diary. I've kept a journal all my life because I wanted to look back on it one day in case I forgot anything. You know, or I watched my grandfather go through Alzheimer's and stuff, and I knew that one day I could take the book and maybe look back on it and go, oh, yeah, I remember. Maybe it would jog a memory or something. I've got my daughter. She does the same thing. I got my son. He does the same thing. Brett Kavanaugh's dad did the same thing. Now, he has documented. This isn't something that he just sat down and wrote. This is something that has been verified. All of his weekends were tied up with basketball camps and stuff. The guy drank? Of course he did. You know, I dare anybody on those congressional panels to stand up and take a polygraph test and said they've never drank. Actually, I'd like to see all those people in Congress and stuff take polygraph tests and let me get up there and ask them questions. Are you for the people is the first question I'd ask them. And when it went, you're fired. But do I think something happened to Miss Ford? Yes. Do I think it was Brett Kavanaugh? No. Now, after being in writing and reporting for 3 decades now, almost 4, I've seen this a ton of times. And I know there's other people that's seen it, but I don't think it was Brett Kavanaugh who did it. And I think the Democrats, by pulling the crap that they're pulling right now, is just a load of garbage.
Shame on you.
Yep.
Shame on you for taking this poor woman's life and what she's gone through.
And dragging, and they're both victims, Kavanaugh and Miss Ford.
Well, what really aggravated me was a simple question that they asked. They says, Miss Ford, did you know, when we were talking about the plane thing, did you know that we were willing to come out to you? Because she said, I would have gladly hosted you. He said, did you know we were willing to come out to you? And all of a sudden, her attorney grabs the mic and he says, that's attorney privilege.
Yeah, well, and then she said, well,
and then
I didn't
she
know
says,
that.
well, I knew that, but I didn't understand what you were saying.
That's a bunch of crap, because it was on every freaking news station. It was on the Clinton News Network, or CNN. It was on ABC, CBS,
She couldn't
Fox.
even remember where she lived. They gave her a map and told her to say where she lived, and she's like, well, I don't know. How can you not know where you lived?
What she said on that was, she said that she didn't remember where all the people that were in the different houses were on that part. But she didn't. There was so much stuff that she didn't remember from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I know.
How in the hell is she going to remember that? That was Brett Kavanaugh 36 years ago.
Well, can I read a couple things out of her statement?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I want to read how she wrote, and this I'm going to kind of read a little bit because I want to jump to something she says in 2012. It says that they went to a spur of a moment gathering, like many that summer. How we got to the hold on. When we got to the party, people were drinking beer in a small living room area on the first floor of the house. I drank one beer. Brett and Mark were visibly drunk. Early in the evening, she went up a narrow set of stairs leading from a living room to the second floor to use the restroom. She was pushed from behind. She couldn't see who pushed her. Said Brett and Mark came into the room and locked the door behind them. The music was playing in the bedroom, and they turned it up louder by either Brett or Mark once they were in the bedroom. She said I was pushed onto the bed, and Brett got on top of me. He began running his hands over my body and grinding into me. Now listen to this part. I yelled, hoping that someone downstairs would hear me. I tried getting away from him, but his weight was too heavy. She said Brad groped me and tried to take off my clothes. He had a hard time because he was very inebriated and because I was wearing a one-piece bathing suit under my clothes. I believed he was going to rape me. I tried to yell for help. When I tried, he put his hand over my mouth to stop me from yelling. But she already said she yelled. Now he's putting his hand over her mouth.
Well, she said she yelled.
This is what terrified me the most, and for the most lasting effect of my life.
Stop right there for a second. When she said during the hearings, I watched that part. Actually, I watched every bit of it. She said that when she yelled, that she was trying to yell, but nobody could really hear her. But then again, she could hear people talking downstairs. She could hear them bouncing off the walls like ping pong balls.
Right, but then she goes, this is what terrified me the most, is this most lasting effect of my life. It was hard for me to breathe, and I thought Brett was accidentally going to kill me. And she said, this is the part I was at. Both Brett and Mark were drunkenly laughing during their attack, and they seemed to be having a good time. And she stopped and thought about it, like she was like reading a book. She said that, Mark seemed something, I didn't catch the word, at times urging Brett on and at times telling him to stop. A couple of times I made eye contact with Mark and thought he would help me, but he did not. Okay, now, she can make contact with Mark, but she never said anything about making contact with Brett. Trust me, when you're being raped, you're looking at the person assaulting you. Now, in 2012, she says that...
Well, this woman that was in the article that I just read, she said she while she was laying there, she was trying to... to memorize everything, scars.
But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. When it first happens, you also, if you hear a name a lot or you see a face a lot, you'll when you're first over that attack, there's a way that your mind just kind of puts that person. Every guy is that person at first. And I know that sounds weird and wrong, but it's kind of like you're protecting yourself. You're putting yourself in a bubble, and it's every guy. But she said in 2012, I recall saying, she didn't tell him, she recalls saying that the boy who had assaulted her could someday be on the U.S. Supreme Court, and spoke about a bit about his background in an elitist at all-boys school in Bethesda, Maryland. Now, in 2012...
Wait, hang on a second. Ann wrote in, she said about when they ask what the thing she remembered the most.
Exactly.
That was the laugh.
Not the fact she was raped, not the fact that they had her mouth over her, she thought she was going to die. It was the laughter. And that burned my biscuits because I have been raped and I know what that feels
And then
like.
she said, but
I think she over-dramatized herself in the situation.
she said before that it was him holding his hand over her mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And then she says, if you go into 36 minutes and 13 seconds, she says, I recall saying that the boy who had assaulted me could someday be on the U.S. Supreme Court, and spoke about his background in an elitist all-boys school. Now, 2012, she's so concerned about one day he might be in the U.S. Supreme Court, and she knew that he was a prominent lawyer or a judge. Why did she wait till now?
Yeah.
Because it's a ploy. They used her, and it makes me so aggravated because I'm sick and tired of the women's empowerment movement making a mockery of women and making a mockery of the people that have been hurt and been abused.
Wait, I got somebody calling in. This is Andrea from the produce stand. Should I answer it? Nah, we'll just... Andrea,
call her back.
I got to decline your call. Wait, no, I'm going to answer it. Hold on, guys. She hung up. If you're going to call into the show, I'm going to answer the phone. No, I agree. You know, it's...
I mean, I believe she had something to her. It's like, you know, I go in the grocery store every day and I've had men walk up and grab me or grope me. I believe, by the way I watched this woman and how she portrayed herself, she gets overwhelmed in situations. And I honestly believe with all my heart that she overwhelmed herself in this situation and she just took it further. Because she said right there that, you know, he groped me, and then one minute she screamed, the next minute she doesn't. That's a typical thing when you're raped. You kind of like, okay, didn't I? Okay. You have to, you don't want to think about it. You kind of go back to it. But the problem with the situation is that she said she ran across the bathroom and she's hearing, first of all, she doesn't say anything about hearing voices. She says, I waited for them to leave. When I knew they weren't coming back upstairs, I left and I ran out the door. But then again, she changes her comment and said that, you know, I could hear conversations downstairs and they were laughing at me. Her biggest concern was the laughter the whole time. The biggest concern was the laughter, not the fact she was raped, not the fact that your life is completely destroyed because you're afraid of doing things when you're raped.
Well, when I was in school, we had a psychology professor. And one day, the door flies open. These guys come in with masks on, and they act like they were going to rob everybody. They pushed the professor down. They started acting like they were kicking him behind the desk. And I'm sorry, they didn't have masks on. They had masks in their hands. And they were dressed like they were thugs. About a minute later, after 30 seconds maybe, after this was going on, they jump up because a couple guys went to rush these guys. They went flying out the door. And, of course, everybody's first instinct is to go to the professor to check and see if he's all right. They disappear out in the hallway. And it was a setup. We had to describe the two men that came into the room and what they looked like, their heights and everything else. Every stinking one of us got it wrong. We all had portions of that. But for 1 minute of this, we couldn't identify them. So they bring in a lineup of guys that we had to identify. And this is like 15, 20 minutes after it happened. None of us could really identify the guys because they all were about the same. Okay, what is Ann, right?
I agree, Ann.
Why would a 15-year-old girl say hi to someone involved in her attack 6 weeks later? I have no idea.
Oh, on top of that, she also continued to go to parties. Now, if I was almost raped at one party, I sure the heck ain't going to spend the rest of my summer going to parties.
Yeah, well, Ann's got a good point there. Why would she say that? You don't go up and confront your attacker, especially a 15-year-old girl. I've never been a 15-year-old girl, thank God.
I hope not.
I got a freaking a hair or something sticking out my condom here.
Your condom? I think we can keep that under the door. Keep that closed.
Yeah, hand me another condom over there, please. I don't know what that is. Excuse me while I change my condom, please. There we go.
I think she had something happen, and then the way I'm reading this is I recall. I recall tells me somebody sat down and told her what to write, and she made the story, exaggerated it a little bit more because she sounded like, for a professor with 14 degrees, she sounded and looked like a complete dumb butt. I don't want to say the word, but she sounded like a complete dumb butt. I was so surprised that a woman with that many degrees couldn't even stand up and figure how to be sworn in.
Yeah. Oh, I know. She didn't know how to be sworn in. She's a freaking professor. Okay. I think maybe, and I'm probably gonna get scrutinized for this, but I think she's a little loose in the goose upstairs because she can't remember things from 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, but yet she could sit there and recite dates. Now, I don't think she's lying. I honestly believe that something happened to her.
I don't.
But she said, yeah, and would you stay away from those? Yes. She says it was an act. I got to think so, too, because I think the Democrats, I think her Democratic, now, her attorneys were, actually, the Democrats set her up with these attorneys, which are Democratic attorneys. Okay, get somebody that's independent. Tell her to get her own freaking attorneys.
Yeah, that's kind of against what they did. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. It's against
the Democrats
interest or
did
something
that.
like that. Yeah, isn't it against? I can't remember the word I'm looking
And
for.
the Dems, I'll tell you what, the Dems are hoping that the FBI guys that are involved and with all the Strzok and Page and Comey and all that stuff, they're hoping that these guys get this because they can push it with them. I mean, look at Fusion GPS, look at the phony dossier. That I guarantee you, when this thing breaks open, the Dems are going to be the ones that get busted with their pants down. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got Fusion GPS, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton, the phony dossier through Rosenstein, Strzok, Page, Comey, all these turds that are in the FBI. Now, there's some good FBI people out there. My daughter wants to go into FBI as a forensics analysis and go figure out how crimes are solved with corpses and everything else. So there's some good people in there. There's good people in everything, in our sheriff's departments and stuff. In every business, you have a turd, unless you're very fortunate.
Unless you're in Congress, and then you got a whole bunch of diapers to change because they're all dirts. So.
Yeah, I got to agree with what Ann's saying. Feinstein got the addy.
I'll tell you what. I want to say something to Feinstein. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You sit here and you held this woman's testimony, and now you're sitting here and you're calling for an FBI investigation. Oh, I'll only support it if we do an FBI. Girl,
she's not going to support it after that. Are you freaking kidding me?
Okay, so I'm looking at the dates that this woman said, and you could tell she was actually telling the truth by how she was stating it. But she said that, what was it, on July 6th, she had written a letter out, gave it out to, what she called Essex office. Where is it at? Give me 1 second. I had it pulled up. I pulled the wrong one.
Yeah, she gave the letter to the ethics office.
Well,
and
it
they
was
in turn
her Congress.
Were supposed to turn it over to Feinstein.
Yeah, she said that I did not know specifically how to do this. I called my congressional representative and let her receptionist know that someone on the president's short list had attacked me. I also sent an encrypted message to the Washington Post confidential tip line. I did not use my name, but I posted the names of Kavanaugh and Mark Judge. I stated that Mr. Kavanaugh had assaulted me in the 1980s in Maryland. That was an extremely hard thing for me to do, but I felt that I could not do it. Over the next 2 days, now she's remembering this from the 6th to the 8th. Now we're on the 8th. Over the next 2 days, I told a couple of close friends on the beach in something, California, that Mr. Kavanaugh had sexually assaulted me. On July 9th, I got a return call from Miss Esu after Mr. Kavanaugh had become the actual nominee. I met with her staff on July 18th and then met with her on July 20th discussing the assault and my fears of coming forward. Later, this is the 20th of July, and they've known about it since the 6th. Later, we discussed sending a letter to the ranking member Feinstein, who is one of my state senators, describing what occurred. It was my understanding that Esu delivered a copy of my letter to Feinstein on the 30th. Okay, so again, we went from the 6th to the 30th. He's already been a nominee. Nobody says anything. Nobody does anything. Now Feinstein has it on July 9th. From July 9th to, September 30th? Well, we're saying July 30th, excuse me. Feinstein had it from July 30th to September 13th. The ranking member, she did not once bringing up, they had a closed-door meeting session, so this kind of stuff could have been brought up. She didn't even attend. Where the heck was she from September 4th to September 7th?
They don't care. I told you the whole thing is a friggin' ploy.
It's a ploy, and I am so ticked off what she did to this poor woman. She made a mockery. It's not a party of the people anymore. It's a party of the politics, and I am so fed up with it. The people need to stand up against the government because the government's getting too big. Yeah,
I like what Ann said. She said the FBI needs to start a new investigation with the envelopes that Sheila Jackson Lee give to her, Annie, and check everyone that made accusations after. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what? We got to move on. We're time is cutting short on us. I'll get to that the rest of this on Tuesday night. I got to tell you guys something. One of the things that is frickin' pissing me off beyond no end here is this past couple of days. You know, we had a guy. Oh, by the way, we're going to check and see. Somebody had written in. We're going to check and see if there was a guy earlier out in Boswick running around with a gun. We still don't know if they caught the guy yet or not. But if you guys are out there off of what's that road?
West River Road.
West River Road, between there and the river, keep your doors locked, or some idiot running around with a gun. I don't know if this guy. I don't think this guy's naked like the last one, but I'm sure the sheriff's department's going to find him. The thing that is frickin' pissing me off is we report the news. We don't make it. We break it. Okay? We try to do our best to keep people informed, whether it's here on IITW radio or what Tammy does on the Putman Way. Yesterday, there was a guy who allegedly, I'm just going to give you guys the Reader's Digest version of it. That's not verbatim, so don't sit there and quote me on this crap. Okay, so the guy, he gets into an argument with his girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. She goes up to the local convenience store. She calls the cops. The cops tell her, like a police department, tells her to go home if the guy shows up to call him. She goes home, the guy shows up. He's threatening her. He takes off in his car. He gets over by the college. He runs into a couple of vehicles. The cops come up to the vehicles. He's got a gun sitting on his lap. They tell him to put the gun down. He doesn't put the gun down. So they shoot him. He dies at the hospital. Okay? Because it was a black guy, and because we put his picture up, all fricking hell broke loose. All of a sudden, I'm a frickin' racist, and you people writing in with your nasty little comments are a bunch of turds. Okay, let me tell you that. And don't say I'm calling you turds because you're black or you're white. It was all different races writing in. Okay, we report the frickin' news. Okay, if you break the law, it's going to go up. It's going to go on our Facebook page. It's going to go on our websites. We're going to put it on the air.
And we're not the only news station.
Okay, everybody else, this went up on Palaca Police Department. It went up on First Ghost. It went up on Action 9 and Jax. It went up all over the state. But you people get on there and comment, call me a racist and tell me my mom should have swallowed. That way I wouldn't have been born. Come say that to my face and I will kick your ass. Okay? I'm not a racist.
No.
The post before that was a white guy that got put up there. And he got busted because he escaped from jail. And then the thing that got his ass popped was a Southern boy, he liked iced tea.
Yep.
Sweet iced tea.
Interlochen, yep.
So he goes out to Interlochen. He had already been all over the friggin' place. Shows up in Interlochen. A cop notices him and arrests him. He was white. Why didn't you guys get on there and say anything about these crackers? I'm so sick of the frickin' race crap that you guys produce. Jesus Christ, there's one race that's called a human race. Wipe your ass just like I do. You get your blood drawn. If they strip my skin off and your skin off, the only way that they can tell the difference is I have a frickin' brain and you don't.
I'm sorry.
You know, it might be a pea brain, but there won't be nothing but asshole air showing up in your noggin. Okay? It's not a race issue. It's a news issue.
Amen.
And if somebody breaks the damn law and you think we're not going to put it up because it might start a race thing, kiss my ass. You know what? Kiss my frickin' ass. I'll paint it black if you want it painted black. Right now it's kind of white. I'm sure it's pearly white because it hasn't been burned since my friends faked me out and we went to a nude beach when I was 17. Oh yeah, I'm probably going to get, I'm never better run for Congress, Senate. They'll bring that up. I'm guilty. My white ass got burnt. So did my winker. I had to walk around with an ice pack for 3 days in my house because I was cooked around the midsection. It was no fun. Thing was peeling, looked like a damn lizard, shedding skin. Anyhow,
No,
you guys that are pulling this race crap can kiss my ass. We're not racists at Putman Way. I'm a freaking American Indian and proud of my heritage. I also have white in me. It doesn't make me a cracker or a honky or anything else. My partner, Tammy, is Hispanic. I don't know what Chris is. What are you, Chris? Viking?
I'm
He's
other.
probably Viking.
I'm other.
Yeah, you're other.
I got Caucasian, Mexican. I'm other.
You know, like last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking Dennis home. Dennis has been on the show. Dennis is just like one of my kids. He has a key to my house. Dennis is a black kid that I've known since wee high. Now Dennis is real big.
You have all races over here. We've had
Dennis is a
Chinese,
black kid.
Mexican.
At 2 o'clock in the morning,
Puerto
I'm running
Rican?
him home because him and my son are like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And my son is pasty white. He looks like a freaking marshmallow. You know, you put the two of them together and it's Ebony and Ivory. Michael Jackson's song is based on those two, I guarantee you. But I love Dennis just as much as I love my son. But if Dennis went to jail, I'd probably put it up on Facebook too. You know, I wouldn't want to. But Dennis is a great young man. He's not a kid anymore. He's not a little boy anymore. He's a full-grown man now. But his truck had problems. He was helping my son build a new computer, one of these gaming computers that cost an arm and a leg. My retirement fund. But I'm not a racist. And I don't care what you guys say about me. If you don't want to read the news that we put out, take your dumb ass over to someplace else. Go buy a newspaper tomorrow and read what happened tomorrow that happened today. If you don't want to know what's going on, get your ass off my page. Don't listen to my radio show. You know, you guys are freaking idiots. They write in and start that crap. Well, you're white, I'm black. You're da-da-da-da-da. Kiss my white ass. I don't give a damn.
Another one that's getting on
there's other newspapers around that don't come out but once a week. Go find out whose funeral you missed last week. Go over and find what happened yesterday. And I'm not knocking the newspapers. They can only get so much in them. But newspapers are a dying thing. This is the age right here. People are on this. You know why? Because there's a guy in Boswick running around with a freaking gun right now.
And we can tell you.
And it's up here live right now. If a wreck comes in, Tammy's going to text me or write in there, Jose, and say, the sweet tea gets you every time. You bleed red? Yeah, I do bleed red. Only if I bleach my ass. You're awesome too, Ann. Thank you for writing in.
But
you know what? But we're not racist here.
No.
We help out all people. There's a guy that I'm going to have on the show come next week. He's 88 years old. His house burnt down. He's a veteran. He served in War. What was it?
Was the Korean War?
Huh?
I thought it was the Korean.
I don't know.
I know. I'm sorry.
From 44 to 54.
Correct.
I know he served in a couple different wars. He's a veteran. His house burnt down. He goes to the hospital, and we have pictures up on the Putman Way. He lost everything in a freaking fire. Okay. Tonight, well, we did help get him some clothes, and Michelle and Candace have been helping the man out. He went to the hospital with a pair of boxers. He's a white guy, but it doesn't make a damn if he's white, black, green, purple. This man needs our help. You guys go bitching about race, and why don't you get off your lazy asses and help me and my staff, help my partner Tammy, get a hold of her, help us get this man some clothes, help us get him some food. Mr. Yant's out there that has a soup kitchen where he feeds all these homeless people, not all homeless, but he feeds the elderly, kids, and everything else. Why don't you quit bitching and go out there, because there's black people that go there. There's white people. There's Hispanic people. Why don't you get and quit just, I don't know if they're smoking crack or whatever it is, because I've never seen pot do that. Anybody that smokes pot, it's like, yeah, dude, I love everybody, man. People that drink and are idiots, they hate everybody, they hate everything.
Well, another thing on top of that with the Putnam Way is I'm getting sick and tired of people writing in saying that you guys don't care about the people when there's an accident. You guys take great time. You take a lot of time, and I will stand up for you, because Tammy does more of the Putnam Way, and I do more of the IITW radio. But I watch you guys day in and day out. You sit there and you look at the accident. You try to make sure that you give enough information to report the news, but you protect the identity of whoever's in the accident, so that the families aren't, don't find out from you, they find out from other people. But I get sick and tired of watching people write in there and accuse you guys of all kinds of nasty things for putting up the news.
Well, it's not only that. We try to help out everybody. Like with this elderly gentleman that's going to be on the air next week. You know, normally I love the Red Cross. I really do. And our volunteer firefighters, the sheriff's department, somewhere the ball got dropped on this gentleman. The Red Cross normally shows up every time. Somewhere the ball got dropped. I don't know what happened, but they weren't contacted. So this guy's sitting here with nothing. Now, when a fire happens, the Red Cross shows up. They give them blankets. They give them a credit card that's like a prepaid card so they can stay in a motel for a few days. What's the place over there with Miss Blanche?
Oh, the Bread of Life.
No, not the Bread of Life, the other one. Christian Service Center.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They get involved and they help out. Miss Blanche does too. She runs the food shelter over in Palaca there. But the Bread of Life gets involved. There's a bunch of people. Somewhere the ball got dropped on this gentleman. So, and this is not for me to get a pat on my back. It's just that I've been doing it for so long. It's like instinct. So I got a hold of Red Cross, and Red Cross came right out. They got a hold of Michelle and Candace, the two girls, young ladies that actually helped pull him out of the house.
Yeah,
you guys want to hear a great story? You tune in next week and listen to this man, 88-year-old serviceman. He's going to have to yell a little bit. You're going to have to step back from the radio when he's talking because he's hard of hearing.
And we'll have to set our cameras up a little bit different. You guys will have to forgive us because of the fact he reads lips, so we'll have to turn things just a little bit that night.
Yeah. Anyways, the Red Cross jumped right on it when I talked to them. They got over there. The VA over in Palaca jumped right on getting him a new ID. They're sending it to him. He does have a trailer now that he's going to be living in, but it's only temporary. So you guys keep that man in your prayers, your hearts, your thoughts and stuff before you go to bed tonight. But as far as being racist, I got to get out of here in a few minutes because Cletus has been hounding me. I'm going to give him the last.
Yeah, he's outside the door. I hear Goober out there.
With that damn jackass again. I'm going to give him the last 15 minutes of the show. But you're going to call me racist or whatever. You know what? Take your sorry ass off of the page. Don't come back because I'm going to start banning people. And I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the First Amendment. I believe in freedom of speech. I also believe in freedom of press, which comes along in that same First Amendment. It's freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom to petition your government. Okay, I believe in all those. But your freedom of speech, when you start slandering people and then start cussing other people out and making a race thing, I will ban your ass. I will take you off of there. And for you people that keep turning me in to Facebook, you know what? I still have a website. Still have 1 million freaking readers. At some point, if you guys keep doing this to me, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your name up and I'm going to tell everybody who you are and what a turd you are.
Yes, and Facebook does tell us who you are.
Yeah, oh yes, they do. When you guys try to get me banned,
they say they're anonymous, but they tell us who you are.
It comes right up who you are. So don't think I don't know who you are, Jackie. Okay? And nah, I'm not even going to say the other one's name. I'm going to ban her anyways, probably as soon as I get off here tonight, because I'm just sick of her starting crap on my page all the time. She's friends with another newspaper that's right up the road here. Yeah, I know. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew, by God.
But you know what? With the right becomes the responsibility. And if you're going to, like the We Too movement, if you are going to support something, get your facts straight. Learn what you're supporting. Kind of like these straws. Everybody's banning straws. Learn how they can help before you start saying how they hurt.
You know what? The whole thing with this, people will sit there. The Me Too women are going to hate this. Okay, I want you guys to tell me what this is. What is this?
Hashtag.
Okay, this is a hashtag, right? This is what they call a hashtag. You agree, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. Back in my day.
That was a number sign.
Back in my day.
Pound number.
What you guys have is hashtag we call pound.
Yep, pound.
It is on the phone right here. It's still pound, not hashtag. So you know what? That says what? Hashtag me? No, it says pound me. Keep your bullshit going, and I'm going to pound the living crap out of you on the air. I don't care. I know women have been pissed on and a bunch in life and stuff like that. And
Well,
I
they
agree
just
with
made an
that. And I
offer,
agree
yeah.
with women should get higher wages. And I love women to death. Hell, I wish I don't know. I don't wish I was one. We get to get out
believe
of that
that-
right now. No way. I don't want the periods. I don't want the yeast infections. I don't want to shave my legs. It's tough enough for me shaving just a section of my face. I can't imagine having to do all that damn shaving. Can you, Chris? He's got a beard.
Yeah, he's out
Say
of
hi,
shaving.
Chris.
But no, I get sick and tired of it because
That's Chris.
this women empowers movement has
Hand.
hurt the women's movement. They've hurt us because they've
Yeah.
made it all about everything but what it should be, women's rights, and now it's everything else. It's
Okay.
all their political agendas.
Before Cletus gets in here, I got to bounce here. I got to go do some stuff. But the produce stand, for you guys asking, the produce stand is up. Check this out. You guys know what star fruit is? I grew up eating this stuff right here.
only had that once,
put the
years
picture back
ago.
up.
1, 2, 3. There we go.
Okay. This is called star fruit. See, it looks like a star.
It's actually
When
pretty
you
yummy.
when you slice it, they have this up at the produce stand, and I think it's you get a basket of these for like $1. It's like 4 or 5 or 6, but when you cut it in strips, it looks like a star. It kind of tastes like
Amen, Ann.
between a peach and a banana.
We are better than that.
Banana.
Do I?
Ann just posted a comment, said that we're better than that, and I said, amen, we are.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you, Ann. But yeah, Satsuma Produce, I was up there. They're open again today. They opened back up. They've been on vacation. You guys go in there and see Andrea. By the way, I got to see Andrea is got an announcement. She's probably not going to want me to. I guess, but there's going to be another little Andrea running around.
Oh.
Yep. You guys want to help her out? Go in there and take her a basket of diapers. Take her some wet wipes in there. I'm going to do that tomorrow. She's probably going to kill me for saying this, but everybody already knows she's got. I saw the sonogram today. It's a cute baby.
It's a cute baby. It's a sonogram.
It is.
Well, congratulations, Andrea.
I said, good Lord, look how hung that thing is. And she goes, that's his leg. I was like, I wouldn't tell anybody that.
Good grief.
I know I'm a mess. But we got pictures of the produce. How many you got there? We can run up through there real quick. Because they just got these up today. Okay. Here's the baskets of bananas. They got all those bananas for $1. They got apples. The tomatoes, look how pretty those things are. I got me a basket of those. I got me some bananas. There's more tomatoes. Okay, that's East Palaca Satsuma. Oh, that corn is yellow and white.
Oh, that's good corn, too. That's the best. It's
Yeah,
really
see,
sweet.
even the corn can get along. It's 2 different colors. That lettuce is nice, too.
Well,
It's
look at
not
Oreo,
like-
black and white.
yeah, they got eggs up there. Those eggs now are not like you get at big stores and stuff. Those eggs have flavor to them. The one I broke open the other day had 2 yolks in it. I was so happy. I felt like I'd been blessed. Okay, you got sweet onions, 2 for $1. And jalapeno is my favorite. Those are good for the memory. You go to the bathroom tomorrow, you remember you ate them today. Tomatoes.
Tomatillos.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I was going to ask you, what are
$1.
you going to say?
What are those?
Tomatillos. They're like a tiny tomato.
Like a tomato.
Tomato.
I don't know. It looks like something that got in a bad accident.
Looks like something you're going to
Laid
have
out
to
in
try
the
on
sun
the
on the
stand
side
one
of
night.
the road. I'm going to try those. I'm going to
Yeah,
go get
we'll
me
have to
some
have
tomorrow.
them
What do they
for
taste like,
Monday.
Chris?
I haven't had one. I think they often are put into salsa.
So is it like something that, like, if we brought it in, we could have Travis try and the screen, or do we need to do something with it for him to try it?
I don't know. If I eat fruit, my mouth breaks out.
Yeah, you can't have a lot of citrus.
But I'm gonna have Chris eat the star fruit. I used to eat these things on the island when I grew up on Lombok Key, and we had them in Hawaii as well. And these things are the bomb. I haven't seen these in a couple of years, but they are great. I'm gonna actually eat this one. I don't care. My mouth's gonna break out.
You look like a
look like
parrot tomorrow.
Yeah. Look like I got herpes. I'm going to wear it proud like a skateboarder wears a knee rash.
Uh-oh, Cletus is pounding on the door behind me.
And says star fruit's awesome. I know. Finally, somebody else that's eating it besides me.
It's good. I had it like a long time ago. I hadn't seen it since.
Mama B likes the stuff too. I got to give my shout outs real quick before I get out of here. I got Mama B, Aiden. I know Aiden's listening. Aiden is such a cool guy. Mama B is too. I'm going to have Mama B on the air
Okay.
here. I don't know if we're going to show her face. She's like the guy in Home Improvement. Or what's the guy's name next door that always had his head hid by the fence?
Oh my gosh! Only thing that comes to my brain is Mr. Wilson. It's not that because that's the only one coming to my.
Was it Wilson?
No, I don't think it was Wilson. I can't think of his name on Tim Allen.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
All I remember is his co-host's name, which is Al.
Yeah, I remember Al, but the guy next door.
I don't know. I
He
can't
just
remember
showed
his
us-
name. Yeah, all you see is like a Kilroy thing going on. His eyeballs
Yeah.
behind the fence.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna get Mama B in here, but who do we got coming up on Monday night for artists?
Actually, we have 3-Dimensional. They're out of Tampa, Florida.
Oh, 3-Dimensional, sweet.
Two sweet young boys.
These guys are going. These young men are going to Japan.
Yeah, they've got a couple big announcements for us coming up on Monday night. So.
Oh, do they? They're going to finally announce who they're going to be singing with.
Yes.
One of my favorite.
Yes. Oh my
freaking artists
God.
in
I
the
want to be
world.
there, but it's too far a drive for me. So.
I don't know. I still might make the drive. Also, we got some giveaways we're going to announce. We're going to be giving away a cruise here probably in the next couple of months and a car as well.
We were supposed to do a couple giveaways tonight, a crock pot and a book, but we have to move them till Monday night. So whoever is watching on Monday night, write in and say, I want the crock pot. First one in gets the crock pot.
I tell you what, I'm going to send Ann one of the books. Ann, you need to send me your address.
Send it to IITW Radio on Facebook or IITWRadio@gmail.com.
Yeah, don't do it on
On this page, please.
don't do it on the YouTube because you don't want a bunch of stalkers showing up at your house.
But yeah, if you'll private message your address to us, we'll make sure you get one of
I'll
Bub's
send you
books.
one of my books for love
Letters from Bubba.
Love Letters from Bubba's. Also, I've got a couple other books. I'll send some other stuff too. What's his name?
Wilson Jr.
Yeah, Wilson.
See, I was right,
That's his
Mr.
name.
Wilson.
Mr. Wilson.
That's the only thing coming to my mind was Mr. Wilson.
Anyways, you guys, on Monday night, I'll go ahead and give away some other stuff as well. And we've got some T-shirts that are going to be coming in. I'm going to send your size too, since you're writing in tonight and you've been so active. I'm going to give you one of our T-shirts to say IITW Radio. They're pretty cool. Chris, you got our logo, right?
Hold on.
The front of them are going to look like that. So it'll be pretty cool shirts. All right, guys, gals, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, Cletus is
You're
back here
welcome, man.
aggravating me. He's like tapping me on the shoulder.
Yeah, Cletus is a freaking
I'm
mess.
trying to keep
You
him
know what?
quiet. I don't know how much longer to be able to keep him quiet.
Yeah, we're gonna put up his first video.
Oh yeah, his
where
first video. He's got his
to-
painting thing.
where he's trying to get into Bob's shop there. This guy's always messing with Bob and a few other people, and I understand he's got some more videos and stuff coming out. So, anyways, watch this video, and then Cletus will be in here. And we'll see you guys. You can check us out on IITWRadio.com, Facebook at IITW Radio. You can check us out on YouTube. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and that little bell to the side so you get notices.
And don't forget the Putnam
And
Way
then
on Facebook.
To put my way on Facebook. Say hi to Tammy. Tammy, I hope everything's going all right with you. Tammy's got some medical stuff going on. It's got me a little bit worried about her, but she's a tough gal. I've known her since middle school. So, anyways, I love you guys. I'll see you on Monday night at 7:30. All right, let's put up Cletus' video. I got to get out of here and get Cletus in here. Hi, I'm Cletus, down here at Cletus Paint and Body Work. You want a good, affordable paint job? I'm painting my brother Biscuits Camphor here. You want a good, affordable paint job? You come down and see me. $29.99, and I will paint this thing and make it look pretty. Plus the six-pack. Oh, God.
Wait, what are you doing here? Don't be doing that junk here and painting that junk. Hi, I'm Bob from Eastside Collision and Towing. If you want a good, affordable paint job, come down and see me. 286 Highway 17, Southeast Palaca. Like, for instance, take this Mustang. We're gonna come over here, we're gonna change out the windshield on this thing, change this old ratty top, put a brand new top on it, and do all the paint and body work in the next couple of weeks here. If you want to see something, the progress on it, stay tuned for upcoming to it, Cletus, get out of here. Come on, get out of here.
$29. I can
Get out
paint
of
this
here.
man's car.
No, get out of here.
No,
Take that
hell
junk
no.
over
I
there
can
with
paint
you.
it.
Don't be putting that junk on my lot. Come on.
You messing me up.
Come on.
Well, how y'all doing?
Hi, Cletus. Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back. How you doing, Chris? Chris a big man. He scared the hell out of me.
We were just watching your commercial. You got a paint and body shop going?
Yeah, I'm working on it with that damn Bob guy. He keeps, I don't know, he's kind of mean to me. He's dating my sister, Livy Jean.
Uh-oh.
But I don't know. He kind of messed up.
Is he working on a car? They're going to be doing something with a car?
Yeah, he got Chris's car. He's working on some Mustang.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a pretty car too.
Is it?
Yeah, that was it in that picture.
That was it in the picture?
Yeah.
Are they going to be doing, what kind of work are they going to be doing to it?
They're going to replace the windshield. Bob is. He keeps saying, but I'm going to get over there early. I'm
Uh-oh.
going to cut that damn thing out.
Are you going over this weekend?
Yeah. Saturday or Sunday?
Ooh.
Hell yeah, I'm going to take the windshield out myself.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to try not to get cut.
Yeah, please don't.
But Bob done show up. I don't know. I might have to get little Jim to pop a knot up on his forehead big enough for a baby dog to suck on. Or a calf. I don't know. I got another commercial, too. Y'all guys done seen it?
No, what's the other commercial?
It's a golf cart.
A golf cart?
Yeah, I tried to paint the damn thing. Bob's taking credit for it.
He's taking credit for your work.
Yeah, well, he did, actually. He did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, can
You
we watch?
want to see it?
Yeah, let's watch your commercial.
I'll show it to you. Who you got Ann writing in here? It's, okay. Here's my commercial. Oh, hello there. I'm Cletus with Cletus Paint and Body Work. Now, I'm redoing this 2018 vintage golf cart here. Was involved in a wreck. An old woman sitting on a scooter being pulled by a deer. That's a big deer, too. The front end right here messed it all up.
That it was.
This ain't no $29.99 paint job. It was $31.72, my God. Plus a 6-pack of beer. Oh, God. I never did get my 6-pack of beer.
What are you doing? I told you to come to
My
my
golf
shop.
cart. You leave me alone, man. What's wrong with you?
Folks, this thing is not a 2018 golf cart. It's a 1964 Cushman. This thing was painted chrome yellow in the front, all the fiberglass, and actually little accents like the grab bar and stuff, and a little insert on the dash. We turned around, put floors in it, repaired all the sheet pan and stuff in it, bed linered all the inside and underneath.
I'm gonna sneak
to
up
keep it
on
from
him right
rotting.
here.
You're going to
Folks, if
sneak
you
up?
need
Oh,
a good
no.
affordable
Yeah, I'm
paint job,
sneaking
You're
up
not
on him.
ruining his
vintage or
commercial.
something new that's wrecked.
I ain't
Folks,
ruining his
Bob,
commercial. He
down at
ruined my
Eastside
commercial. I
Collision
had something good going. I was
286
about to
Highway
get me a
17
6-pack
South,
of
East
beer, damn it.
Palaca, Florida. Phone number is
Man, come over and push me out of the way like that. That ain't right.
I see you. Oh,
Cletus,
my goodness.
get out of here.
Listening, my God. You come say Cletus and Cletus Paint Body, 386-277-0003.
You don't even know the number. You don't even know the number. That's my phone
I
number.
said the number.
Get out of
right.
here. It's 227-0003.
Who you like better? You call them both. I
Get
messed
out of
up,
here.
though.
Man,
don't talk to me like I'm gonna go see the liver gene.
Go on,
I'm
get out of
gonna
here.
come put a knot on your head, big
Go
enough
on,
for a
get out of
baby
here.
calf or
Get out of
something. Oh, my
here.
God.
Come on.
Leave me alone. See, he always throw me out of the damn place.
Yeah, it looks like twice in a row.
What is wrong with him?
I don't
And I'm
know.
letting him date my sister.
You're letting him date your sister?
Yeah, I got some relatives that they don't allow your sister to date anybody else.
I bet.
They would kill your sister.
I bet.
Well, not your sister, but their sister. They say if she ain't good enough for her own family, she ain't good enough for ours.
I
We
hear
don't
that.
even take that crap.
I hear that. Hey, I heard something about the planes in California.
Oh, yeah. If I got Southwest now,
Uh-huh.
if you got marijuana, they're going to let you fly on it and bring a little bit of weed. Yeah, that gives a whole new meaning to the Mile High Club. Yeah, look at them ants down there on the ground. What the hell is that? That's my ant. No, it ain't my ant. It look like an ant, though. When you high up in the air like that. I got a cousin. He kind of retarded. Yeah, his name is Fruit Loops. But he smoked that stuff. That's what made him messed up in the brain. But yeah, Southwest. But that TSA people and them people that stick their finger up your butt if you go through there and that bell beeps, I know. They done got me twice now.
You ain't got to worry about it if you get caught with it then, huh?
No, you got to worry about it because this is still federal crime. Ain't that some crap?
So they're encouraging you to break the law.
Hey, Southwest said you can fly with it. By God, you go and jump on that plane. I got a little bit of weed right here. You know, you think you're all cool with it. You're going to go through the TSA thing, and all of a sudden they take you over there and they stick their finger up your butt looking for that weed. We got a squealer here. Wow, we got a squealer. But yeah, that's for real. It was on the news. Southwest will let you fly with that, but TSA, you know what it is? It's a big setup. I think it's a conspiracy. That's a pretty girl up there, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
Alyssa Caroline.
She is beautiful.
Yeah, I like that song that you guys had on here before. See, you like my flag. I got that because of Calvin O's song.
One Nation Under God by Calvin O.
By God, it is one nation under God. I pledge allegiance to it. Every time. And that ain't no joke. That Alyssa Caroline, I heard her song on here the other night. That girl can sing like a bird now.
Amen.
But her song is going to be the last one that's going to play tonight, right?
Yes.
Okay, what do we got? We got anything funny?
Well, I thought it was kind of funny the other day that they were talking about the animals you can't take on the plane anymore.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I seen a peacock. They said they're not allowing peacocks anymore.
I want to take
Spiders and peacocks and...
I want to take Goober on a plane with me. They ain't going to let me. They said no jackasses on the plane.
Well, then, did they let you on?
Why'd they let you on then?
I took offense to that. I thought they was talking about me. You can talk about me now, but don't talk about my damn jackass. Goober more of a donkey, a big donkey.
Yeah, he is.
He comes from the South, the deep South.
That's wrong one.
Uh-huh.
That was an ugly dog contest that he just had up there. Did you see the ugly dog contest?
Dog contest. They talking about my relatives?
I don't know. There you got some
Wow.
ugly dogs in the ugly dog contest.
That dude looked like an ugly dog. Where's the ugly dog?
Right there. There's one. Check this one out. What do
Ugly
you think of
dog.
this one?
Holy crap. That's Gene Simmons. There ain't no dog. That's what Gene Simmons looked like now from Kiss. Yeah, look at that tongue.
Yeah, he's good.
Holy, what in the hell is that thing? You know what that is?
What's that?
That's that from the Gremlins.
The Gremlins.
Spike. Yeah, that's Spike.
I like the Gremlins. What about this
Oh
one?
no, that's Spike. And why in the hell is that man kissing that dog with a cataract?
His dog looks like it's about to bite him.
It got a shaved leg. Yo quiero Taco Bell. He got a wiener necklace. Hey, you know what I heard?
What?
Bill Cosby, now this ain't no lie. Bill Cosby, you know he went to prison, right?
Right.
Bill Cosby was walking down the steps. His first meal, by the way, they gave him Jello. They gave him Jello pudding pop. We get the pudding pop, all right. He was walking down the steps, and somebody threw a damn hot dog bun and then knocked him down on the damn steps. And that's the truth. I want to know, but it didn't have no wiener in it. We ain't got to find and ask where that wiener went.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
pretty
gonna
sure we
ask.
know about that.
I heard he's got a nickname too, the OG,
Yeah, the OG,
the original gangster.
original gangster, my ass. Oh, God.
Yeah, I guess he's getting pretty traumatized being there.
He should be. But how you get, they said 3 to 10 years. By God, my brother Lester, they told him, and this was for spitting. They did it on a cop, too. And for peeing in public, and he did that on my Uncle Willie. But anyways, they gave him 5 years. They don't just say, oh, we're going to give you a 6 months to 2 years. No, by God, they say 3 years, it's 3 years. They say 10 years, it's 10 years. What the hell's wrong with the judges?
I guess they're just waiting to see if he makes 3.
What the hell is that damn thing?
Back to the ugly
Good
dog.
God, that looks like one of those people in those Me Too movements wearing a vagina costume. That ain't no vagina costume. That's a damn dog. I think that's a dog. Its eyeballs is bleeding. That is an ugly damn dog. For the love of God. Look at it.
You can't laugh.
That looks like a little vampire.
It looks like Yoda, like a different color.
That's a Yoda dog. Luke, the force be with you. Good God Almighty! I seen stuff like this up in North Alabama. That looks like one of the dogs my cousin has. He come at you. You think he's gonna eat you alive? All he don't want to do is lick you. What in the hell is that thing?
It looks like a mess. Yeah.
That don't look like my hair. That look like my sister's. Or my aunt's, not my sister. I love my sister. We got to show a picture of her before we get out of here, too.
Oh, yeah. It's just, there you go.
God, that dog is just scary. What are you putting up all my relatives' dogs for? That just ain't right. I got to show that one ain't ugly. I kind of like that one. That's a pretty dog.
We're fixing to have to get out of here. We got about a minute left, kiddo.
That ain't even right. You cut me short.
I know.
That Chris guy, he done wound the clock.
Will you
back
promise
on
to
me.
come back next week?
Yeah, I might if I can get my right. I got 2 commercials coming up next week too.
You do?
Yeah, and it ain't with Bob either. I can't. Well, one of them might be, but I got my new Goober service going on. Not Uber, but Goober. But I got to get out of here. I like y'all people. Hi, Miss Ann. And Mama B. I got to go see Mama B. Mama B got me some stuff cooking. That little Aiden's supposed to be over there. My little nephew. I got to go kick Bob.
You guys make sure to check us out on IITWradio.com, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out the Putnam Way. And y'all have a great night.
We'll talk y'all Monday.
Good night, y'all.
Oh, she's pretty. She sang like an angel, too. Listen to his voice.
I'm trying to dig myself out.
She's only
But the
16.
hole just seems so deep.
She sings so
Trying
pretty.
to figure it out. Letting go of feelings I can't keep.
I want to interview her.
Don't wanna give
I
up.
have to talk to her mom. I bet we can do it.
Don't
Yeah, I
wanna
want to interview
feel
her.
All
down.
right. Let me see what we can
Giving
do.
in
She sings so pretty.
Well, we're hoping to have her in the studio here after the first of the year.
I want to interview her.
Wanna pretend they get up like I could be good enough.
That's Tom JC.
Don't wanna lose this game. I'm tired.
All right, I gotta
of the
go.
same
I love y'all
old
guys. You have a good
chase.
night. Bye. Y'all.
What about me and who I am? Sometimes it feels like I can't stand. You can't begin to know how it feels looking at me. 'Cause it's all just pretend. I've given you my last tear. I left my heart at the door. I'm hoping to find the strength. For now, there's no more. Don't wanna give up. Don't wanna feel down. Take it slow before time runs out. Wanna pretend they get up like I could be good enough. Don't wanna lose this game. I'm tired of the same old chase. What about me and who I am? Sometimes it feels like I can't stand. You can't begin to know how it feels looking at me. 'Cause it's all just pretend. There's nothing more to say when you feel so far away. Tell me what to do. I can't shake the thought of you. Wanna pretend they get up like I could be good enough. Don't wanna lose this game. I'm tired of the same old chase. What about me and who I am? Sometimes it feels like I can't stand. You can't begin to know how it feels looking at me. 'Cause it's all